One of the changes that I'm most excited about when comparing Helix Stadium to the original Helix is the EQ block. Now, you might think that that's kind of a funny statement to make with so many other great features that have been added, but Line 6 has done something really interesting here. In the Helix, when using EQ blocks, we always had to choose between a simple EQ or a low and high cut, a low and high shelf, a parametric, and so on and so forth. But now with the parametric block in Stadium, we're going to have a lot of these features built right into the single with the ability to engage and disengage each band. Now, I'm guessing as we disengage these bands, they'll use less DSP, which I haven't confirmed, but I'm guessing that's probably the reason why they are working that way. So starting in from the top here, we have our low cut enable. So if we turn that on, we're going to be adding in a low cut. But what's really neat about this is not only can we control the frequency of the low cut, but now we can control the slope of that low cut as well. So 6 dB per octave means it's going to be a much more gradual slope or cutting off of the frequencies below our set frequency. As we move up to 12 dB per octave, 18 and 24 dB per octave, it's going to be a more extreme, almost cliff-like look to it. So that's going to be another really great tool to help us refine exactly how we want our low cuts to work. If we come all the way to the bottom, we also have a similar thing on the high cuts. We can set our frequency, and then we can set our dB per octave setting from 6, 12, 18, and 24. And at the bottom here, we also have a final output level as well if we needed to send more output level out of the EQ block. Well, what else do we have built into here? Well, something I'm very happy about, being a huge fan of the shelf EQs, is we have the shelf EQs built right into this as well. So if we didn't want to use the parametric EQs, the middle bands we're going to look at here in a second, we just turn those off. But if we wanted to enable a low shelf, we turn that on. We can set that shelf frequency to wherever we want. Anybody who watches my channel knows I like to set that around 650 hertz, and then I can control lows and sort of lower mids with that. And we can also then come down to the bottom here and go to the high shelf EQ, where I can enable that and set it much in the same way as the low shelf, except controlling all the frequencies above whatever point we set. And again, I like to set that at 650 hertz. So really cool stuff. Just turning on the high cut enable. So now we have the high cut enabled, the high shelf enabled, the low cut enabled, and the low shelf enabled. If we want to dive into the middle parameters, we have the ability to go with a full parametric EQ like before. We can engage our low frequency, sweep that anywhere in the frequency spectrum we want, set the Q or the bandwidth, and adjust our gain, much like we can for the mid frequency and the high frequency. So very, very cool that Line 6 has worked that all into one block, so we don't have to be adding separate EQ blocks if we want to use more than one of these at a time. Now, if we did want to do something more specific, where let's say we didn't want our shelf EQ or our parametric EQ working here, but just our high cuts and our low cuts, we could have that there, and we could always come in and add another EQ block somewhere else where we can enable our low shelf and high shelf, let's say. So we can use numerous EQ blocks still if we want to have them positioned in different parts of the signal chain. But if we don't, it's much easier now to have all of those different EQ parameters all in one simple block. I hope that was a helpful eye-opener to one more thing that's possible now in Stadium when comparing it to the Helix, and I hope that that was helpful. Please like the video, share it with anybody you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it. Also, please subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell notification. Stay tuned for a lot more Stadium content coming up. Thanks for tuning in, and ciao for now.